So last time we did free radical substitution. We started talking about alkanes, and I told you that they're non-polar compounds. Not only are they non-polar, they're very unreactive as well. Because if you're non-polar, you don't have polarity, so they don't attract anything. They're not very soluble in water as well. और उससे फिर ये कि the molecule is going to be very unreactive as well. ठीक है, it's going to be very stable, hardly any reactions. ठीक है, apart from basic combustion reactions. So there was one reaction which we called free radical substitution or simply substitution. That was a reaction with chlorine. Jahan pe what would happen is that you would have UV light, and the molecule will react with Cl2, and the hydrogens are going to get displaced. Okay, there could be 1, 2, or 3 hydrogens getting displaced. Okay, there was a variable number of Cls that would take its place, and the byproduct was HCl basically. And reaction can happen with any alkyl chain. I told you that it could be any carbon chain. They all look like alkanes. Okay, so chlorine under UV light, it could go and substitute any one of them. Okay, and also remember this reaction happens with you can either call it chlorination. It can also happen with bromine as well. Okay, but it's usually not going to happen with fluorine or with iodine. For iodine, the reaction is too slow. So reaction is very slow. And for fluorine, the reaction is very explosive. So it's a very uncontrolled reaction. So you don't usually do it with fluorine as well. Reaction is very uncontrolled, or yep, you can just call it explosive. अच्छा, anyways, यहाँ तक तो clear है ना, ये तो O levels था, ठीक है? When this is clear, Ahmed, graphic clear है?
Yes.
So now the next thing is, okay, there's a thing called the mechanism of the reaction. Like, why does this reaction happen? Okay, what happens in UV light when the chlorine comes in and this thing reacts with it? So what goes on? Why does this reaction happen? So the mechanism of the reaction is going to describe you all the details of this reaction. Okay, so the first step, the reaction involves 3 steps, not in the exact order, but there are a total of 3 steps. Okay, there's a step 1. I mean, this step is the first step. This would always happen. It's going to happen first. That's known as initiation. Or initiation का जो step होता है ना, what happens in this is that free radicals are formed. So why are they formed? Because there's homolytic bond fission. So there is homolytic bond fission because of UV light. Okay, that's एक सेकंड होता है मैं so because of UV light. Now, and here's what you're going to draw. Okay, there's a Cl2 molecule, and this Cl2 molecule obviously has a bond. The 2 Cl atoms are bonded to each other. They're sharing 1 electron each in this bond. Now, when UV light falls on this, okay, it provides the necessary activation energy that is required for bond breaking. ठीक है? So when you have sunlight, so here's your UV light, ठीक है? Your high frequency rays. The bond over here is going to break, and it's going to break equally. One electron will go back to Cl, the other electron will go back to the other Cl, and that will result in the formation of two free radicals. So you're going to get two atoms of Cl. So there's one Cl radical being produced, and there's going to be another Cl radical that will be produced. ठीक है, radicals हमने discuss किया था. Radicals are atoms that have incomplete outer shells or unpaired orbitals. So your free radicals are getting formed. You clear the first step? Is this clear?
सर ये homolytic bond fission का क्या होता है?
हमने लास्ट टाइम पढ़ा था होमोलिटिक बॉन्ड फिशन. वो था कि ये मैंने कुछ टर्म्स पढ़ाई थी. कहाँ की टर्म्स? हाँ, तो यहाँ पे ना ये कर्ली एरोस हेटेरोलिटिक होमोलिटिक बॉन्ड फिशन इज व्हेन द बॉन्ड ब्रेक्स इक्वली. Heterolytic bond
Okay.
fission. Heterolytic bond fission is when both electrons go to one atom, तो unequally bond break करता है. ठीक है?
Okay.
और उसमें I told you कि curly arrow represents the movement of a full curly arrow represents the movement of two electrons. A half arrow, well, a half arrowhead basically represents the movement of one electron. ठीक है?
Okay.
अच्छा, now कहाँ गया? अच्छा, now that was just step one. ठीक है? We're going to move to step two now. ठीक है? What is step two then? Once this happens, तो उसके बाद it's followed by step two. अच्छा, step two is known as propagation. So that's our propagation step. इसके अंदर what happens is that the total number of free radicals they remain the same. There's no net increase in free radicals. Total number of free radicals they remain exactly. They remain constant. No net increase or decrease. So they're going to remain constant. So what's going to happen is that you've got अब यहाँ पे ना ethane will come into picture. ठीक है? You've got an ethane molecule. Now the ethane molecule is this thing. So that's my ethane molecule, and I've got a Cl radical. So remember, radicals are very reactive. Radicals are reactive because they need an electron. ठीक है? Chlorine का जो outer shell है, that is not complete at the moment. It's not complete, so it needs one electron from somewhere. Where would it get that one electron? So what's going to happen is, as a Cl is also very electronegative as well. ठीक है? जो Cl होता है, it has a very strong attraction for electrons as well. So what will happen is, okay, this has got one electron, and the hydrogen is basically sharing its electron with the carbon on the other side, right? Now this Cl, because of its high number of protons in its nucleus, it's going to try and pull the hydrogen electron. ठीक है? उस electron, the hydrogen is sharing electron with this one, so it will try and pull that electron towards itself, and the Cl will try to bond with it. So the idea clear है, the hydrogen, instead of sharing electrons with carbon, its electron is going to be attracted to Cl, and it will start sharing electrons with Cl. Is that clear?
जी sir.
And the
Yes.
carbon, and the carbon's electron will get unpaired. Okay, that electron will go back. So the result is, this is what the result is going to be for this step, and that's okay, you've got this molecule. ये पूरा draw करने को आएगा, ठीक है, the whole step and mechanism. Just a sec. So the result is that that this H will go and bond with Cl. Okay, so our H has gone and it has now bonded to Cl. It's formed HCl, and the carbon now has incomplete bonds. Now that's a radical. So an ethyl radical is produced. ठीक है, so the Cl got its electrons full. It's paired. It's no longer a radical. उसका outer shell complete हो गया. The carbon is the one that's actually lost a hydrogen now, and it's got one unpaired electron now. ठीक है, so is this part clear?
Yes. Yes.
अच्छा, अब next part है कि so that happens. Now the next part is, what does this ethyl radical do? It needs to complete its outer shell, right? So what this will do is, कि हम इसको copy करते हैं, ठीक है? What this will do is, I said, now not all the chlorine molecules might have actually broken up, ठीक है, in the first step. सारे के सारे तो homolytically there would be a lot of molecules that will still be around. So you've got a Cl2 molecule. Now this radical that is formed, now it wants to complete its outer shell, the carbon atom over here. So what it will do is, it's going to grab one of the Cl's electrons and it's going to try and pull that electron and share that electron with itself and try to bond with it. The Cl-Cl bond was already in the process of breaking up due to UV light, so it will eventually break up. So the end result is you're going to get this thing. You're going to get तो वो जो Cl है ना Cl2 molecule के अंदर, that's going to that Cl2 over here, that will actually end up with this carbon atom. So that bond is complete now, and another Cl radical gets produced. Now that's your entire two-step propagation, the two propagation steps that you have. ठीक है, तो step यही है कि the Cl radical which was produced comes in, takes away the hydrogen, bonds with it, forms HCl, the carbon becomes a radical. The carbon goes around searching for something to join with. So it grabs one of the Cl from the chlorine molecule, bonds with it, and the other Cl then becomes a radical. So the total number of radicals, they remain exactly the same. You started with a Cl radical, you ended up with a Cl radical back again. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes.
clear. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
अच्छा, अब ये कि ये जो step है ना, this is going to repeat. ठीक है, it's not going to be. This is the first step of many propagation steps. ठीक है, what's going to happen is कि end result क्या हुआ है कि if you look at this molecule, now one of the Cl has displaced. So this is how displacement is happening. One of the Cl has gone on to displace the hydrogen atom. अच्छा, अब ये होगा कि the next part is repeat everything. ठीक है, but now one of the other hydrogens is going to get displaced. So we're going to start at this point. ठीक है, we're going to start over here. And now what will happen is we first step, repeat the first step, but do that with another hydrogen. ठीक है, let's focus on another अच्छा, let's focus on another hydrogen. ठीक है, so let's ये नीचे इस वाले पे कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, let me just इसको खींच के थोड़ा सा. अच्छा, let's focus on this hydrogen. So it's got 2 electrons. Now a Cl radical is going to come in with its 1 electron. It needs an electron, so what it will do is it's going to go and see that hydrogen's electron. It's going to grab that electron and it's going to bond with it. Okay, so and the carbon gets its electrons back. Okay, so the carbon is going to get its electron back. Okay, so carbon gets its electron back. That's the first step. Second step will be that second step will be that so the molecule will go on to form HCl. I mean, this H will bind with this and it will form HCl. And this carbon over here will become a radical because it's going to get its electrons back. So it's going to be short of 1 electron or 1 bond basically. So that's the first step. And the next step will be, now we've got this ethyl radical. Now this one is a chloroethyl radical. So it's going to go on, it's going to attack a Cl2 molecule. So there might be a Cl2 molecule with, so it's going to grab one of those इसको थोड़ा सही draw कर लेते हैं. So what it's going to do is it's going to grab one of those Cl. This electron goes back to this Cl. Again, it's a homolytic bond fission that's happening, and the result will be, so a result will be that one of the Cls is going to go and join with that particular radical, chloroethyl radical. So this Cl और फिर Cl का radical दोबारा फॉर्म हो गया. ठीक है, so the process continues over and over again, and it will stop. When it will stop when all the hydrogens eventually get displaced. Okay, this one over here is a chloro. So this one over here is a chloroethyl radical. So is this clear?
Yes.
तो मैं draw कर दूं कि these you got these 2 steps. So all of them are basically, it happens in 2 steps. Okay, so this is your propagation step. Then you have another of those propagation steps. And it just continues to repeat until you're out of Cl, or until all the hydrogens they eventually get displaced by Cl. Okay, is this clear? So you must know how to write this stuff. Okay, they're going to ask you about this. अच्छा, ये 100% clear है सारों को?
जी sir.
अच्छा, then after this there's a last step as well. There's a third step, which is, now step number 3 is known as the termination step. Now it's not, remember the first step is the first step, but the second and third step can happen at any point. Step number 3 can happen at any point during the reaction. So that's known as the termination. If it happens, the reaction gets terminated. So termination. So what happens in termination is two free radicals, they combine. They join. So if you have no more free radicals, then the reaction stops. The only reason the reaction was propagating was that every time you had another free radical, right? So अगर तो free radical है ही नहीं, तो obviously there's no reaction because everyone has their bonds complete, so they don't need to bond with anyone else. So no more free radicals, and hence the reaction, it stops or gets terminated. So that particular sequence of reaction stops. Maybe some other molecular reaction is still going on, but at least this sequence of molecules. So here's what termination is. अब ये देखो कि you got this free radical, right? So two free radicals. So any two random radicals that got produced in the first step. So I had this free radical, and there were other free radicals that were also produced early on. Here, let's take that Cl radical. There are lots of Cl radicals. So why are they radicals in the first place? Because the bonds are incomplete. So here's a Cl radical. So why are there two radicals? Because they need one bond each, right? So why don't they just join with each other and like stop the propagation step? So this will join up with this. The two will simply connect together and they will end up producing whatever product that's going to be produced. And you'll be out of radicals now. So no more propagation. I mean, there's a Cl, there's an H, and there's this H of a bottom banner, there's a Cl. So two free radicals, they ended up joining with each other. So you don't even need the propagation step. What could happen at any point is the propagation step in, as soon as this free radical was produced, instead of attacking a chlorine molecule, it could have just gone and joined up with a Cl radical somewhere. So the reaction will stop immediately. You'll be out of free radicals. Okay, so there could be another termination, and maybe another Cl radical might join up, and the two will combine with each other. And when they do, the reaction terminates immediately. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे ना there's a Cl now. ठीक है, so is this clear termination?
जी सर.
अच्छा, अब termination की important चीज है. It's not just they combining with Cl, they could just combine with each other. Like they're short of bonds, right? That's why they were free radicals, right? So if there's an ethyl radical, and maybe let's say there's a ये वाला radical उठा लेते हैं, chloroethyl radical, right? I mean, the reason they're radicals is because they're short of bonds, right? So तो अगर ये arrows हटा दो, so why don't they just join with each other? ठीक है, why don't they just, I mean, this carbon bonds with this carbon, well, that's it. I mean, so they could do that as well. Now, when they do that, the length of the carbon chain will become bigger. Okay, so instead of actually 2 carbon atoms, now you've got a substitution product that's got 4 carbon atoms. So you got H. So you got H and Cl, and there's 2 H's with this one. So this one has 2 H's. So this one has no Cl's whatsoever. अच्छा, ये आपके ना सारा हो गया. So they've just joined up over here. ठीक है? ये जो H and I've just drawn it downwards. ठीक है? So they're kind of connected right in the middle over here. ठीक है? So they have as they've joined up. ठीक है? Is this clear?
जी सर.
Yes.
So the bigger, I mean, it's less likely, but bigger molecules can be produced. So bigger molecules produced. Now remember this, that nowhere at any point are you breaking a carbon-carbon bond. So if it's a bigger molecule, if you have a 2-carbon atom molecule starting off with a 2-carbon atom molecule, you're gonna get a 4-carbon atom molecule. You can't get a 3-carbon atom molecule. Okay, so it's always going to be a whole number ratio. It's going to be n times the number of carbon atoms in the original molecule. And even after this, the propagation step could start again, right? It's not going to stop. It's like if there's a Cl radical coming in, the Cl radical will come and grab one of the hydrogens. So this carbon will become a radical. This carbon can go and then attack a Cl2 molecule and grab one of the Cls. So the propagation step will just continue endlessly. But at this point, the reaction has terminated. Okay? If you're running out of free radicals, it will eventually terminate the reaction. So ये सारा clear है?
जी सर.
Yes.
अच्छा अब ये कि जो अगला पार्ट है वो ये कि so that's all, that's termination, propagation and initiation. ठीक है? That's where the reaction started and that's where it ended. ठीक है? अच्छा, one thing you should know about is, I mean, you should know how to predict the products of a, there could be any number of Cls around it. ठीक है? That's one thing. And the number of, you could get a bigger molecule, and that bigger molecule could can have a multiple number of carbon atoms in the original molecule. अच्छा, एक question है, ठीक है? एक simple question. Let's say we started off with, अच्छा, let's say free radical substitution. So we've got free radical substitution of let's say of propane. So what happens in free radical substitution is, okay, you've got this molecule and we're going to try and figure out what products are possible. And this is with Cl2. ठीक है? जो original reaction है, that was very simplistic. The mechanism is kind of more complicated. So the question is, will you get this molecule, first one, will you get Cl. Achha, will we get this molecule? Well, common sense question, will we get this molecule or not? If you do free radical substitution, will you get this molecule?
जी सर, लेकिन 2 हाइड्रोजन एटम्स नहीं
ठीक है, 2 हाइड्रोजन.
नहीं सर. सर एक सेकंड, यहाँ 3 क्लोरीन एटम्स हैं.
हाँ, तो लेकिन ये मॉलिक्यूल मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा?
नहीं सर.
क्यों?
सर तो हाइड्रोजन कहाँ जाएंगे? H2 बन
अच्छा,
जाएंगे.
वो छोड़ो, वो HCl बनेगा ना, वो तुमने कभी किया ना. इट्स गोइंग टू फॉर्म HCl, राइट? ये
ओके सर, ठीक.
propagation step था ना. The Cl radical will come in, steal one of the hydrogens, and it will form HCl. and then वो जो radical बना that will go and grab one of the Cls from somewhere and it will form the hydrogen will eventually get substituted. ठीक है. My question is, will this
जी
product, मतलब खाली इसका मैं बाकी byproduct की बात नहीं कर रहा, I'm just talking about this product. Will this form or not?
जी सर हो जाए.
ठीक है, so it's going to form. Any number of Cls could be substituted randomly. ठीक है, so that could be formed. ठीक है, this could be formed as well. के I've got this molecule and everywhere there is Cl except for okay, on the left side there is just hydrogens. ठीक है, so that will also form. ठीक है, हुनैर clear है, am I clear है, form हो जाएंगे. ठीक है, is that clear?
जी
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, अब मुझे बता, so this is free radical substitution. Now tell me, will this form? Okay, will you get a 6 carbon atom molecule like this? अच्छा, will you get this molecule?
Yes.
ठीक है,
जी सर.
मिल जाएगा ना, क्योंकि what will happen is कि how will you get this molecule? That a Cl radical will come in and it will grab any of the hydrogens and it will become a radical, right? So what will happen is कि you'll definitely get this molecule. ठीक है, इसको अगर मैं separate कर लूं, अच्छा, that molecule can be formed. How can it be formed? कि the original molecule, after one or two substitutions, its ends might have formed a radical. ये radical और ये radical, ठीक है? So they might have formed a particular radical. अच्छा, फिर इसी तरह मुझे बताओ कि can this form? I mean, they could have joined this way, right? Also, they could have joined this way. अच्छा, एक और बस बता दो, can this form? ये चीज, or let's say randomly now there's Cl, there's H. Cl, अच्छा
नहीं
Cl तो
सर ये एक और कार्बन. एक सेकंड.
अच्छा, ये वाला molecule. Can this molecule form in free radical substitution of propane or not?
Yes.
ठीक है, remember ये form होगा क्योंकि it's still two propanes that have, like, if I cut this out, ठीक है, and if I this one, so it is basically two propanes जहां पे ना on one side the free radical was this carbon atom at the end, in the other one the free radical was the carbon that is in the middle, and मतलब वो क्लोरीन आया था, उसका मिडिल वाला H ना छीन के चला गया था, तो that became a radical, so they would join up over here. Is that clear?
जी सर.
ठीक है. अच्छा, फिर एक और कि can this molecule form, like if I have this thing, अच्छा, I've got carbon, carbon, carbon and a carbon. ठीक है, let's say there's random substitution as well. अच्छा this CH. अच्छा now can this, it's also a 6 carbon atom molecule, can this molecule form?
No, sir.
क्योंकि क्या क्या इशू है कि previous वाले में ना I could break it up into 2 propane molecules, right?
जी
But
सर.
this one के I can't break it into 2 pieces, like 3 का. मैंने कहा था कि in free radical substitution the carbon chain does not change, so it's always going to be a 3 carbon atom chain. This is going to be a 3 carbon atom chain, and they would join up somewhere, ठीक है, where the free radical is. So this is 3 carbon atoms, this is 3 carbon atoms. They're going to connect in the middle over here. यहाँ पे you can't break it into 2 pieces. तो clear है ना बाकियों को? This is not going to happen.
जी सर.
Yes.
हुनैद clear है? अहमद clear है?
Yes, sir.
The problem is you can't split it into 2 propyl radicals. So you can't do that. So this is not going to be, तो इस तरह के questions आते हैं कि they might ask you कि भाई ये products, which ones are the correct products. So obviously you're going to get मतलब वो 3 carbon atom के तो substitution products होंगे, but you're also going to get 6 carbon atom substitution products, and the logic behind that is I mean, there could be any number of CLs that could get substituted, but the main idea is it's going to remain 3 carbon atom molecule joining with another 3 carbon atom molecule. This can't be the one of the products. So ये सारे steps draw करने को आ सकते हैं. Termination, propagation, they might ask you. Remember, propagation is 2 steps, ठीक है? Cl comes in, grabs one of the H's, and then the radical then grabs one of the Cl and joins with it. So ठीक है, let's continue tomorrow. We're done with free radical substitution. ठीक है, we can move on to alkenes now. सही है?
Okay sir.
चले, okay. अल्लाह हाफिज.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, sir. Allah Hafiz.